and gentlemen, you're watching Canal Algérie and this special edition dedicated to the second International Conference on Nuclear Medicine, jointly organized by the Commissariat of Atomic Energy and the Algerian Association of Nuclear Medicine in collaboration with the International Atomic Energy Agency, that took place on the 14th and the 15th of this month, 2025. And this conference aims mainly at strengthening scientific and technical cooperation, promote the training of Algerian and African professionals, encourage the creation of regional research networks and disease registries, as well as building capacity by offering training and educational opportunities for young researchers and doctors. And to discuss about this, I have the great pleasure to welcome Professor Abbas Alvi, Professor of Radiology at the Hospital of University of Pennsylvania.
That's
Welcome.
right.
And Dr. Abdi Mohammed, Secretary of the Algerian Association of Nuclear Medicine. Gentlemen,
thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, without much ado, I have to ask you straightforward, for general public and in plain words, what is nuclear medicine, Professor?
Nuclear medicine is the last specialty in medicine and deals with labeling drugs with various radiopharmaceuticals, radioactive material, to be able to visualize organ function in disease as well as normal states. So this is a very new and complicated technology that is evolving probably faster than any other specialty in medicine, and is allowing us to see by our own eyes disease activity, response to treatments, developing new drugs, and many other important aspects of medicine that we could not do with conventional techniques, including CAT scans, CT scans, or MRI scans. So this new technology is bringing enormous possibilities for practice of medicine and treating patients more effectively than we have been able to do in the past.
And is that for that reason it is considered as a strategic tool for fighting against cancer?
Yes, it is. Definitely, it's just opening up a lot of new domains for, just expanding the domain of medicine and improve better drugs. We can definitely make more drugs that are more effective. So in many ways, it's a very unusual approach to what we have practiced medicine since the beginning of practice of medicine. So it's a very exciting area of just applying and helping patients. This has been of great interest to myself as a physician, having practiced medicine the old-fashioned ways, and now practicing medicine with these modern, powerful technologies has been very, very exciting and very, very helpful as a physician. So as a doctor, I really feel that our techniques have helped millions of patients around the world not to go to surgery that they did not need, change drugs that were not working. So it's just a very extraordinary approach that in modern sciences, physics, chemistry, mathematics, have provided for developing this technology and improve healthcare.
Thank you. Dr. Abdi, we've just been explained how important is the nuclear medicine. Now, how about Algeria? To what extent this is very important to our country?
Yes, just to continue what Professor Abbas said, and Professor Abbas, we are honored by his presence here. We thank him so much to make all the travel from USA to here. Professor Abbas is the first man who developed whole body PET in human, and PET is now a very important technique to manage almost all diseases now, especially for cancers.
Okay.
So theranostics and now nuclear medicine is important. Why? In nuclear medicine, as said Professor Abbas, we use radio tracers. So what is a radio tracer and what we use? We can say that it's like a Trojan horse or a military truck. So you take a truck and you put soldiers inside and you say, go to this organ, go to this cancer. And when it arrives, soldiers go out and will kill the cancer cells.
It is more precise.
Yes, it goes directly to where's the problem. It minimizes side effects for the other organs, And the novelty also why we say theranostics, it's a combination of two words, diagnostic and therapeutic. So we can, using radioactivity, there's type of radioactivity gamma emitters that let us to do imaging, so we can see where our drugs gone. We can do dosimetry, so we can quantify how much...
Identify precisely what...
Identify and quantify the amount of radioactivity that was delivered to the tumor. And we can predict response, we can see the tumors, we can say if the patient will need other doses or not. And the most important, the last years of the development of radiochemistry. So we can develop, it promises to be almost a solution to each disease. And Professor Abbas here maybe may correct me. And that's the hope of nuclear medicine actually. Here in Algeria, nuclear medicine is not really recent. Nuclear medicine started just a few years after the independence.
Yeah, this is the question that I was going to ask you later on. But since we're talking,
go back to your question. So, Professor Belmiloud, who is very known, he was the first man who introduced the first dose of radioactive iodine in 68 or 69.
Late 60s.
It was just 4 or 5 years after the independence of Algeria. And the development of this the first use of this in USA was in the 40s. So I think first use of iodine is 41 and in benign disease and 45 in malignant disease. So after that, in the 80s, there were the development and the starting of the use of iodine in the center of Pierre and Marie Curie here in Algiers. And after that, the first nuclear medicine physicians have been formed in Europe and got back here and start to form residents here in Algeria. And the first nuclear medicine resident in Algeria has his diploma in 87. So nuclear medicine in Algeria is not that recent. And since that date, there is 1,000 of patients that have been treated with iodine for benign and malignant disease. Just the novelty actually is the introduction of these new techniques of PET and theranostics. And here, Algeria got a little bit late to what happens outside in developed and even in our neighbor. So that's the objective of the Algiers International Conference, and that's one of the objectives of our association is to try to be at the same level.
Updated and...
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And to get acknowledged with the latest technologies that have been introduced to the...
Bring experts from all over the world. So we had, in this edition, we had, it's the second edition, so we had experts from developed countries, but also with countries from the Arab world, because some Arab countries started using these new techniques before Algeria.
Yeah, talking about the new techniques, okay. Professor, what are the recent breakthroughs that were highlighted, highlighted in the transition from diagnostic imaging in therapeutic applications?
Well, I think diagnostic imaging shows the disease where they are throughout the body, especially with modern instruments that have been developed in my specialty, namely in PET imaging. We can look at the entire body in 2 minutes, detect wherever the disease is. Then we have made these targeted agents that go and find where the cancer is, cell by cell, at the cell level. This is why we call this precision medicine. So these magic bullets, as we call them, go and find every cell in the body that is cancer. We can just now use isotopes that just kills the cells and destroys it at its origin. So this is really a targeted technology, and we, as I said, we just call it precision medicine because it just goes exactly precisely to where the problem is. So that's of course applications in cancer, which has been a major domain for PET technology, but we can detect atherosclerosis. This is just the bad vessels in the heart, in the brain. So that's, of course, another area. We can detect inflammation, infection, two most diseases of mankind. These are really very important, and of course, we see efficacy of treatments in patients with infection because we call it drug resistance. A lot of drugs don't do what they should be doing, but with the conventional techniques, we have to wait weeks, maybe months, to see that drugs are not effective. With these techniques that we have developed, we can just find out infection that is resistance to antibiotics or other treatments very early on, within days, whether this treatment is the right treatment for that patient. So overall, just there's enormous possibilities, from brain to cancer to heart to musculoskeletal system to joints. We just have developed tools over the past, especially 55 years that I've been in this field. I've seen true revolution, faster than any other specialty in medicine. All the drugs are developed now by PET. Now we use labeling radioactive material to drugs and see where they go by imaging techniques, rather than the old-fashioned way, which was giving the chemicals to the animals, killing the animals, and to see if their drugs are the way you wanted them to go. And that was a very ineffective way to develop drugs. What is more important than developing effective drugs? And PET is really revolutionizing the development of new drugs. There's a company called SmithKline in my hometown in Philadelphia. They have 10 PET machines for the animals. They label the drugs with the active material, inject to the animal, put the animal in the machine over hours to see the drug goes where they want it to go. So what could be more important than developing effective drugs? So however you look at it, either from the drug developments, clinical practice of medicine, and also better understanding of disease process. This is really what PET is doing right now. In my medical school, scientists, biologists, biochemists, pharmacologists, they all are using our small animal facilities to understand the biology, molecular aspects of various diseases in animal level, and then we translate them to human being. So this is really a true revolution in medicine, and I really would be very grateful for the government of Algeria to invest heavily both in buying instruments for the various institutions, hospitals, but also encouraging young people, paying them money to come to our specialty, get training. If you want to succeed in anything in life, first you train the people to really do the job. So investment in people is going to be very essential for expanding this technology into every city, every town, every village in Algeria.
Professor, we're talking about including people, and according to you, this cutting-edge technology that is very efficient, to what extent it is generalized? I mean, is it enough, or we are still having a long way to go?
I mean, on the surface, it appears to be that this is an expensive modality, but that is the wrong impression. We look at cost effectiveness of anything in life.
Exactly.
So we look at the amount of money that we spend and how much return we get from it. Eliminating surgeries, like in America.
And how much money are we going to save as well?
Absolutely. In America, a patient who gets cancer treatment without PET spends like $200,000-$300,000 for a patient who has got lung cancer. By doing a PET scan, that in America we charge about like $1,200, $1,500, we can stop that $200,000 not to be spent. So a lot of money is wasted in medicine because of ineffective modalities that we have, old-fashioned technologies. Like everybody thinks that CT scan, MRI scans are the greatest technology in medicine. They are not. This is really what we have shown at the University of Pennsylvania, but now confirmed by others that CT and MRI are not as good as we thought they are. So the greatest technology is going to be PET, PET-CT, PET-MRI. And the sooner developing countries get into pet business, the better off they're going to be. They're going to spend much less money, but my heart goes to patients. Patients are the number one just component of what we do as physicians. We want to minimize their suffering. We want to treat them more effectively than we have been able to do with conventional techniques. So the sooner your country gets into this business, the better off it's going to be for patients and also for the economy of the country.
Yeah, exactly, Professor. Thank you. You just mentioned the commitment of the Algerian government in this nuclear medicine. Dr. Abdi, I have to get back to you and ask you this question. In what ways does this conference, I mean, talking about the second international conference on nuclear medicine, demonstrate Algeria's commitment to advancing nuclear techniques in medicine?
Yeah, I'm talking about the authorities. Just the president of the republic already just a few years ago just mentioned the necessity to develop nuclear medicine in Algeria. So we heard that word and we understand that the authorities are aware of this. So the organization of this conference to bring experts from all over the world, there's people that's coming from developed countries that already have their advanced techniques, so they can help us. But also we invited people from, as said, from the Arab world, like for example, Professor Akram Al-Ibrahim from Jordan, who was the first Arab to introduce lutetium PSMA. But by this occasion, I thank him so much because he helped us so much to organize this conference, and he was the president of the scientific committee. So he started in 2017 in Jordan. So we have already 8 years of late in Algeria, according to, if we compare us to Jordan. We invited also a professor Aizer from Iraq, and he also did, in Iraq they already did 100 patients of lutetium PSMA treatment for prostate cancer.
Iraq and Jordan are very well known for that.
Yeah. So in Algeria we already started this year the using of lutetium PSMA. So the importance of this conference is to bring people that already used to this technique and from different countries, from developed and from the Arab world, the countries that are similar to Algeria, to have their experience. So when we start, we want to start with a good starting, a good point. Yeah. Other points is that since the first edition of the last year, we introduced a new prize to the conference for the best resident oral communication.
Okay.
This prize is to encourage young professionals to do their research, do it in English, to encourage them to arrive to a high level so they can be able to do research and publish it in a high level of scientific journals. Why it's important? Because if you don't produce science here, you have to follow the others. Yep. So it's important to produce science here in Algeria. And we want to encourage the young people to do this, because they are the future.
And what are their response? I mean, talking about the future generation.
Yeah, they responded very well. So for the first edition, it was really the first, and it was already starting. And the prize was, the winner of the prize was from Tunisia, and we felicitate her for that. But this year's the winner of the prize is from Algeria, and that's the international
a step forward.
Yeah, a step forward. Yeah.
I have to get back to Professor Abbas. Professor Abbas, you've been around the world doing these lectures about the nuclear medicine. According to you, what are the impacts that such events can have on Algeria's scientific researchers and doctors?
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm, of course, I'm from the Middle East, and of course, I consider Northern Africa very similar to my own culture that I was brought up. We, in the just Muslim world, we were pioneers in science.
Yeah.
And in fact, I am actually related to Muhammad and Ali, so my heart is very close to Islam, and there are a lot of smart people in the Islamic world, and I like to see what we did, 1,000 years ago is back to Middle East, to
Why not?
North
Yeah.
Africa, and just show to the world that we don't have to depend on Europe and America to develop new things. We were pioneers. When there was no civilization in Europe, there was nobody in America, we had great civilization. We have to bring
Absolutely.
that back. And there are a lot of bright people, as I witnessed today. I had talked to students, and they were very excited about my discussions with them.
Yeah,
So,
I was wondering, how was it? I mean, how did you see them through their eyes? What did you see through their eyes, for example?
well, I think there's a lot of excitement. Having went to America, later in my life, and just in Iran, I was growing up, we always envied, and anybody who came from America or Europe gave us a talk. We were just so excited about meeting someone from advanced
Reaching
countries.
that point.
That's right, and the same excitement I saw in the faces of students today when I talk with them. They are just eager to go. They either want to go, and
If he could do it, I can do it as well.
absolutely. I just don't think that we have civilizations in this part of the world for thousands of years. We can do again. It just, unfortunately, there have been few episodes in history, as it has happened in the just life of mankind. We just go ups and downs. But this is the time to go up for the Muslim countries, for the developing countries. And there are a lot of good-hearted people in America and Europe who really want to help. They don't want to see, look what's happening in China. China was very much like what was happening in the Islamic world. No, they're going faster than any other country.
Yeah.
India is going to be another superpower. The same should happen in the Islamic world. Just this is going to take the leaderships of these countries and just encourage, provide means, tools for young people
And
to
I do
move up
reckon, yeah,
and give their best to the society. I talked about working hard today to students. I personally have worked very hard. And honestly, coming from a developing country to become very successful in this very high technology.
Means it's very doable.
To me, it was amazing, but it was possible. I was able to do it.
No, it means not only that, but you a concrete, a real proof that everyone can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You put your heart into it, you're going to be able to do it.
Where there's a way.
My father died when I was 4 years of age, and my mother, who was one of the greatest mother, said he suffered for 6 months, we couldn't help him, and you got to become a doctor to do it. Those words came to my ears and made me to become very eager to work even harder, to do as much as I could, and has made me competitive with Americans, Europeans, and even at times I've gotten ahead of them. So that just shows that we have to create an environment and conditions for young people to really reach their potential. And this is really what I would like to see happen in my Muslim brothers, sisters country in Libya, in Algeria. So that's really my message to your country, the leaders, and community at large.
The message will be direct, clear, and with a good response, I hope. Dr. Abdi, briefly, because we'll run out of time, according to you, same question, what impacts do international events like this can have on Algeria's scientific reputation?
Yes, immediate impact is that we had experts from all over the world. So experts have seen Algeria, have seen that, like Professor Abbas said, there is a will here in Algeria. We want to develop things, so they can help us to develop. That's the immediate. And after that, as I said, encourage the young people. So when you have a young people that's very encouraged, they can produce science, they can do everything after that.
Great. So I think that we run out of time, and we come to the end of our edition. Professor Abbasi, thank you for joining us. If you have anything else to end up the debate with, please do.
I will, and you have my promise, and it's been a pleasure to visit your great country and continue just interacting with them in the future.
All the pleasure is ours. And Dr. Abdi?
Thank you for the invitation, and thanks for Professor Abbas to come here.
Gentlemen, I do have to thank you for being here and, well, especially for what you're doing, being around the world, sharing all your knowledge with different countries, including Algeria. Thank you very much, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for this edition dedicated to the second conference, international conference of the nuclear medicine. Stay tuned on Canal Algérie.